Hey YouTubers, this is a tutorial on how to set up your home studio, your laptop for Garageband, and what settings are best if you are recording to try to do voiceover or you're trying to do announcing on your project. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up Garageband. That'll open up, and it's going to open up project. Some things to note in here. First off, if you want to figure out what everything is, click this button and then everything will have a pop-up and you can tell exactly what it all is. I'm going to turn it off because I don't need it right now. This left side is called the library or the inspector, and this would be where you would have sounds or things that you would want to process. This down here are called the smart controls, or the EQ and the compression, everything like that. So to get rid of these things, to get rid of this library, you click that, and to get rid of the smart controls, you click that. This is what we're going to be recording onto. Before we start recording, let's do a couple things. First off, right now I have the microphone, the laptop microphone is open, and that's what you're hearing me from. This is your display window. Currently it's set for bars and beats and tempo and a key and a time signature. All of that is relevant for music. It's not really relevant for when you're recording voice, because you're not, unless you're recording singing to music. So on the right side there's this drop down for the display mode, and you can change that to time. So let's do that. So now you can see along this top here that's called the ruler is a timeline, and it gives seconds for that, and now your display is in seconds. So if you're recording a script and you know it's a 15-second script, you can kind of guesstimate or make a rough estimation as to if you're long or short. If you are playing and or recording, there's these two things here. This is a count off and a metronome, or a click track. I'll just demonstrate by pressing play. You're hearing the clicking. You don't want that while you're recording, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on that, so that goes away. The count off is giving you a 1, 2, 3, 4 click before it starts recording. That's a matter of personal preference. If you like that, go for it. If not, then click it off, and that's what I generally do. This is called the playhead. And to move the playhead back to the beginning, you hit the return button. Okay? Now let's go look at a few preferences. Also, I want to check the smart control. Your recording settings are down here. There is no input right now. Currently, the input, if you had something plugged in, I was using a Yeti microphone, a USB microphone on my laptop. I use a XLR microphone and a analog to digital converter, or an I/O box, an input-output box on my desktop. So we're going to click Yeti stereo microphone. It's not the Yeti, it's just the microphone on the coming from the laptop. So you just know that. These controls, we don't need to worry about these controls. To turn them on, you just click and the light will come on. This is a compressor, and this is an EQ section. And then these are sends for ambience and reverb, which you don't want because that's echo. So we're going to click this back off. Now let's go into preferences. Go into GarageBand, pull down to preferences. You don't need most of these things. The only thing that you need is audio MIDI to click your to put your output device, if you were using an input-output box and speakers, that would be in this drop-down. But because there's nothing plugged into this laptop, it's just using the built-in output. So it's going to play back on the speakers of the computer. The input device currently is using the built-in microphone, but I also, if I plugged something in, like the Yeti, or if I plugged in my I/O device, which would be the input-output box, which would connect to the computer and then connect to a microphone and headphones, that would come up. But currently there's nothing there at the moment. You don't need to worry about metronome. You don't need to worry about loops. My info, if you are wanting to put your name and some information, this is called metadata, that goes along with your output. So if you're making a WAV, or you're making an MP3 file or an AAFF file, which you can do in GarageBand, then you can put that in there if you so desire. For audition purposes, it's probably not necessary, but do it, if you want to do it. Resolution, I just keep it at 24-bit, and then I don't auto-normalize at full volume, because sometimes that can induce distortion or make things really crazy loud, and it adds a lot of noise if you're in a noisy situation or room. The thumbnail resolution I just keep as high. So that's basically it. Click that off. Now we're ready to record. So you press that and it starts recording, and you're seeing my voice. This is a representation of the waveform of my voice. Okay? To stop, you press the space bar. Or you can come up here and press stop as well. Your playhead ends at the end of your recording. If you want to go back to the beginning and listen to it, you press the return button. To start it up again, you either press play, click the play button here, or you just press the space bar. So press that, and we'll automatically start playing. You're seeing my voice. This is a representation of the waveform of my voice. And you're hearing my voice now. Okay. To press stop, return. And that's how you set up your preferences for GarageBand.